Good morning, spiritual companions. We are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Chapter 12, The Master's Love for His Devotees. Wednesday, April 21st, 1886. M. and Narendra were strolling in the garden of the house at Kosapur. Narendra was very much worried because he had not yet been able to solve his family's financial difficulties. Narendra, I don't care for the job at Vidyasagar school. I have been thinking of going to Gaya. I have been told that a zemindar there needs the services of a manager for his estate. There is no such thing as God. M, smiling, you may say that now, but later on you will talk differently. Skepticism is a stage in the path of God realization. One must pass through stages like this and go much farther. Only thus can one realize God. That is what the Master says. Narendra, has anybody seen God as I see that tree? M, yes, our Master has seen God that way. Narendra, it may be a hallucination. M, whatever person experiences in a particular state is real for him in that state. Suppose you are dreaming that you have gone to a garden. As long as the dream lasts, the garden is real for you. But you think of it as unreal when your mind undergoes a change, as, for instance, when you awake. When your mind attains the state in which one sees God, you will know God to be real. Narendra, I want truth. The other day I had a great argument with Sri Ramakrishna himself. M, smiling, what happened? Narendra, he said to me, some people call me God. I replied, let 1,000 people call you God, but I shall certainly not call you God as long as I do not know it to be true. He said, whatever many people say is indeed truth. That is Dharma. Thereupon I replied, let others proclaim a thing as truth, but I shall certainly not listen to them unless I myself realize it as truth. M, smiling, your attitude is like that of Western savants, Copernicus and Berkeley, for instance. The whole world said it was the sun that moved, but Copernicus did not care. Everybody said the external world was real, but Berkeley paid no heed. Narendra, can you give me a history of philosophy? M, by whom? Lewis? Narendra, no, Überweg. I must read a German author. M, you just said, has anybody seen God as I see that tree? Suppose God comes to you as a man and says, I am God. Will you believe in it then? You certainly remember the story of Lazarus. After his death, Lazarus said to Abraham, let me go back to the earth and tell my friends and relatives that hell and the afterlife exist. Abraham replied, do you think they will believe you? They will say it is a charlatan who is telling them these things. The Master says that God cannot be known by reasoning. By faith alone does one attain everything, knowledge and superknowledge. By faith alone can one see God and become intimate with Him. It was about 3:00 in the afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was in bed. Ramlal, who had come from Dakshineswar, was massaging his feet. Gopal of Sinthi and M were in the room. Sri Ramakrishna asked M to shut the windows and massage his feet. At the Master's request, Purna had come to the Kosapur garden in a hired carriage. M was to pay the carriage hire. Sri Ramakrishna made a sign to Gopal, asking whether he had obtained the money from M. Gopal answered in the affirmative. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Surendra, Ram, and the others were about to return to Calcutta. It was the sultry month of April, and Sri Ramakrishna's room became very hot during the day. So Surendra had brought some straw screens to keep the room cool. Surendra, why, nobody has hung up these straw screens. People here pay no attention to anything. A devotee smiling. The devotees here are now in the state of Brahmanyana. They feel, I am he. The world is unreal to them. When they come down to a lower plane and regard God as the master and themselves as his servants, they will pay attention to the service of Sri Ramakrishna. All laugh. Thursday, April 22nd, 1886. In the evening, Rakal, Sashi, and M were strolling in the garden at Kosapur. M. The master is like a child, beyond the three gunas. Sashi and Rakal. He himself has said that. Rakal. He sits in a tower, as it were, from which he gets all information and sees everything, but others cannot go there and reach him. M. He said, in such a state of mind one sees God constantly. In him there is not the slightest trace of worldliness. His mind is like dry fuel, which catches fire quickly. Sashi. The other day he described different kinds of intelligence to Charu. The right intelligence is that through which one attains God, but the intelligence that enables one to become a deputy magistrate or a lawyer or to acquire a house is a mean intelligence. M. Ah, what beautiful words. Sashi. Kali said to the master, what's the good of having joy? The bills are joyous. Savages are always singing and dancing in a frenzy of delight. Rakal. He, meaning the master, replied to Kali, what do you mean? Can the bliss of Brahman be the same as worldly pleasures? Ordinary men are satisfied with worldly pleasures. One cannot enjoy the bliss of Brahman unless one completely rids oneself of attachment to worldly things. There is the joy of money and sense experience, and there is the bliss of God realization. Can the two ever be the same? The rishis enjoyed the bliss of Brahman. M. You see, Kali nowadays meditates on Buddha. That is why he speaks of a state beyond bliss. Rakal. Yes, Kali told the master about Buddha. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, Buddha is an incarnation of God. How can you compare him to anybody else? As he is great, so is his teaching great. Kali said to him, everything indeed is the manifestation of God's power. Both worldly pleasure and the bliss of God are the manifestation of that power. M. What did the master say to that? Rakal. He said, how can that be? Is the power to beget a child the same as the power through which one realizes God? Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room on the second floor. Narendra, Rakal, Sashi, Surendra, M, Bhavanath, and other devotees were present. Dr. Mahendra Sarkar and Dr. Rajendra Dutta were also there to examine him. His condition was growing worse. The house rent was between 60 and 65 rupees. Surendra bore most of the expenses and had rented the house in his name. The other householder devotees contributed financial help according to their power. A cook and a maid had been engaged to look after the members of the household. Master, to Dr. Sarkar and the others, the expenses are mounting. Dr. Sarkar, pointing to the devotees, but they are ready to bear them. They do not hesitate to spend money. To Sri Ramakrishna, now, you see, gold is necessary. Master, to Narendra, why don't you answer? Narendra remained silent. Dr. Sarkar resumed the conversation. Dr. Sarkar, gold is necessary, and also woman. Rajendra, yes, his, meaning Sri Ramakrishna's, wife has been cooking his meals. Dr. Sarkar, to the Master, do you see? Master, smiling, yes, but very troublesome. Dr. Sarkar, if there were no troubles, then all would become Paramahansas. Master, if a woman touches me, I fall ill. That part of my body aches as if stung by a horned fish. Dr. Sarkar, I believe that, but how can you get along without woman? Master, my hand gets all twisted up if I hold money in it. My breathing stops. But there is no harm in spending money to lead a spiritual life in the world if one spends it, for instance, in the worship of God and in the service of holy men and devotees. A man forgets God if he is entangled in the world of Maya through a woman. It is the mother of the universe who has assumed the form of Maya, the form of woman. One who knows this rightly does not feel like leading the life of Maya in the world, but he who truly realizes that all women are manifestations of the Divine Mother may lead a spiritual life in the world. Without realizing God, one cannot truly know what a woman is. A few minutes later, the physicians took their leave. Sri Ramakrishna and M were engaged in conversation. The Master was telling M how he felt about woman. Master, to M, they say I cannot get along without woman and gold. They don't understand the state of my mind. If I touch a woman, my hand becomes numb. It aches. If in a friendly spirit I approach a woman and begin to talk to her, I feel as if a barrier had been placed between us. It is impossible for me to cross that barrier. If a woman enters my room when I am alone, at once I become like a child and regard her as my mother. As M listened to these words, he became speechless with wonder at Sri Ramakrishna's exalted state of mind. Bhavanath and Narendra was sitting at a distance, talking together. Bhavanath had married and was trying to find a job, so he could not visit Sri Ramakrishna frequently at Kosapur. He had said to M, I understand that Vidyasagar wants to start a new school. I have to earn my livelihood. Will it be possible for me to secure a job in that school? The Master was very much worried about Bhavanath's being entangled in worldly life. Bhavanath was 23 or 24 years old. Master, to Narendra, give him a lot of courage. Narendra and Bhavanath smiled. Sri Ramakrishna said to Bhavanath by signs, Be a great hero. Don't forget yourself when you see her weeping behind her veil. Oh, women cry so much, even when they blow their noses. Narendra, Bhavanath, and M laugh. Keep your mind firm on God. He who is a hero lives with a woman, but does not indulge in physical pleasures. Talk to your wife only about God. A few minutes later, Sri Ramakrishna said to Bhavanath by a sign, Take your meal here today. Bhavanath, "Yes, sir, I am quite all right. Don't worry about me." Surendra came in and took a seat. The devotees offered garlands of flowers to the master every evening. Sri Ramakrishna put these garlands around his neck. Surendra sat quietly in the room. Sri Ramakrishna was in a very happy mood and gave him 2 garlands. Surendra saluted the master and put them around his neck. All sat in silence and looked at Sri Ramakrishna. Surendra saluted the master again and stood up. He was about to leave. He asked Bhavanath to hang the straw screens over the windows. End of today's reading.